from here. Okay, welcome to the Energy and Excellence program in the philosophical exploration area. I'm joined here by Mr. Pratap Bhatt, who is a great student and spiritual aspirant and very evolved individual in Vedanta and teachings of J. Krishnamurti and related ideas around that. We are starting our series today, which is the 29th of May, 2023, on J. Krishnamurti's notebook. From what I understand regarding J. Krishnamurti's notebook, that this is the culmination of his teachings or of his thoughts. He has written these, and it's very good that he wrote them because it is very experiential. It has definitely the essence of all of his teachings, and we want to really probe into them very carefully. So Mr. Bhatt is a very accomplished Vedantist. He is very profound in his understanding, and we want to extract that. I'll do my best to ask him lots of probing questions. I'll share some of my thoughts also as we continue this inquiry and this exploration. So I want to really express my thanks to Mr. Pratap Bhatt for his time, dedication, and years of sadhana or spiritual practice and reflection, inquiry along these lines. This is not an easy subject. In fact, I was searching, as Mr. Bhatt knows very well, about J. Krishnamurti's notebook. Has anybody written anything about it? Are there any videos? Not much is there. Very little is actually available in terms of commentary or expression. So we are going to attempt to do this, something which is not really done by anybody, really, as far as I know. Maybe it's done, but I just haven't seen it. So along those lines, I want to start here. I'm going to do a screen share so we can see, and we're going to go through this literally line by line. This is right at the very beginning in Ojai. This is June 18th, 1961 in New York. J. Krishnamurti writes, "In the evening, it was there. Suddenly, it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. Others noticed it." So this is the line we will be looking at today. I want to make some initial comments, and then I have questions for Mr. Bhatt about this. So first of all, this passage of Jiddu Krishnamurti's notebook delves into his understanding of the relationship between beauty, power, gentleness. I mean, they're all together. Hold on one second. There was something else I wanted to say here. Just a moment here. Yes, actually, yes. So this passage from the notebook reflects a profound and somewhat ineffable spiritual experience that Krishnamurti is trying to convey. He's trying to convey something that cannot be conveyed using language, really, because it's beyond language. So to better understand this passage, I just want to look at some background points. Krishnamurti often spoke about the notion of an awakened state of consciousness, sometimes referring to it as the other, a state of profound insight and understanding that was beyond the grasp of the intellect. So it's a sense of unity within the world, a feeling of love and understanding that transcends ordinary perception. So this state isn't confined to the individual consciousness. It has a communal or universal aspect able to be subtly sensed or appreciated by others. So these are my initial comments on this line. The first point here is that Krishnamurti often speaks of an awakened state of consciousness, and sometimes referring it to as the other, a profound state of insight and understanding that is beyond the grasp of the intellect. Pratap, what are your thoughts on this, and what would you like to share regarding this particular line?
Yeah, as I understand from his teaching, and also from the Vedanta, Raman Maharsi's kind of a teaching, it looks like that when he says that in the evening it was there, suddenly it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. What I take that understanding as that all of a sudden this ego dropped away. I sense that we all have it and that we take it as a real, And here he is very big on that, but he sometimes doesn't explicitly say that. But when this kind of thing happen, and sometimes it happens when I walk in the nature, just under open sky, all of a sudden you only see this great sense of beauty, power, gentleness, love, and you see yourself even walking, yet the body seems like it being walked, and everything feels like it is within me. So that happens when the sense of I drops away.
Okay, yes. Okay, all right, yes. So natural question anybody might have is, how does that happen? How does the I actually drop away? So let's go into it in sequence. What you just said, that the I drops, right? Can you explain that further?
Yeah, see, generally we take this I, that Pratap and Sachin and all of us take this I growing up as an individual or person based on our identification with the body and the mind, because everybody tells us that you are like this, you are like this, you are like this, right? I mean, our starting with the parents and then the school and the teachers and the society and all of them. And that's what we call conditioning. And this conditioning becomes Pratap as a label. So this sense of Pratap is understood. If it is understood clearly, then it's just only a label for us to deal with the people in the world. Now, since it is just a thought in the mind, Pratap or Sachin is just a thought in the mind, that we have to realize it. So that mind can speak. I'll often say that. Now, this, since it is a thought, it can drop away. All of a sudden, taken up by the beauty, the surrounding beauty takes away this I. And then when the I drops away, everything becomes one I. Me, or you can say me roughly, not the me, I, body, mind person, but there is nothing else but that only. And it's such a tremendous peace and love and happiness, beauty particularly. So that's what I understand, that this I drops away, because anything in the nature, if we are attentively walking and all that, then the sense of I drops away. Just like it drops away when we are dialoguing here. There is no sense of me. We just talk only, dialogues only. Or sometimes we watch some beautiful movie. The I drops away. The movie absorbs us. Beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset. All of such things are like takes away. Like, we say sometimes that it took my breath away. This breath away means it took our eye away.
All right. So let's go slow with this. Is very nice. So you just said that the I drops away. I just want to be clear about what you're saying, that the I drops away. And in the dropping of this I, there is a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. This is what Krishnamurti is saying, right? So his words are, in the evening it was there. Suddenly it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. Others notice this. I want to go into this carefully. When you say that the I drops, anybody listening to this in general will ask you, or even Krishnamurti, they might ask, how does it drop? What do I have to do for it to drop? What is your answer to that?
The thing is that the sense of I is a thought, first of all, and the thoughts can get dropped also on its own, right? The thoughts come and go and come and go. And when you are really absorbed, this I itself gets absorbed in whatever is going on.
Okay.
So there is a glimpse that happens when there is an absence of I. You feel the glimpse that, or aha moment, It's all just the beauty and peace and love only.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. So for that glimpse to happen, I'm going to go slow with this carefully. One of the big points that Krishnamurti and others have also made is awareness and observation without judgment. So although it is not like, Krishnamurti doesn't talk about it in terms of sadhana, like how we talk about it like spiritual practice, but it is still a type of sadhana. I mean, he doesn't use that word, but I think you and I can probably use that.
Yeah,
because,
we can relate to it.
Yeah, because awareness and observation without judgment. If Sachin says, I want, at least there has to be some intention, some drive to be in that state of awareness and observation without judgment. If don't even hear about that, don't even think, then I just go on with my usual life as it is. But in the path of inquiry, which is what you are talking about a lot, the path of inquiry, there is a deliberate attempt to awaken awareness and observation without judgment. Is it not so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would stop here. But first, it looks like it's a deliberate attempt by Pratap or by Sachin to awaken this kind of thing. But it's not by Pratap or by Sachin, because they are simply thoughts. And when you see, that helps more of Krishnamurti's teaching. When you see that Pratap and Sachin are just a thought.
So hold on. Just back up.
Observation.
Mm-hmm.
Observation becomes natural by the awareness itself, the intelligence itself, the consciousness itself, the Atman itself. It becomes natural because there is no interference of this I, who wants to do, who wants to be aware or anything. So when it stops its activity, then there is the other is always there. He refers to other as this awareness or consciousness, right?
Yes.
So that other is always there. And then this other is the only thing, so it becomes one only then, not even other versus me.
Yes. And whatever that is beyond, I mean, it's a mystical thing, but we don't, you cannot describe it. I mean, as the Upanishad says, if we were to bring in the Upanishadic ideas, we'll try to connect it, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha, that the mind, the intellect cannot reach there, essentially. It cannot be thought about because it is behind the thought. It is the thinker, it is the awareness behind the mind itself.
Yeah, because the very reason that mind cannot approach that, it's in the field of noumenon. Noumenon means that mind cannot catch it, because in order for mind to know anything, it has to make that as an object.
Yes.
Now this awareness, this reality can never be made object, because that's the only subject that there is in this whole experience of all of our life, is that aware. We may not notice it because of this I thinks that it is being aware and all that, but the awareness itself is ever present thing that is not noticed.
Okay.
And when that
Go ahead.
kind of understanding comes from this experience of
All right. Okay. Let's. I just want to go slow with this. I want to go very carefully, slowly with this, because this is, since we're recording it, it'll be available for the general public and for others in the future to understand your thoughts on this and some of my just reflections. I want to go because this comes very natural to you, but for so many people, this is it's difficult for them to really grasp. So I want to break it down a little bit further. When we say that awareness is present, that awareness brings insight, and insight has the power, or insight can uncondition the mind. Right? So there's a relationship between awareness and it's acting upon the conditioning of the mind. Is it correct? What do you think about that? What do you say? Yeah.
Say that again one more time. See.
So awareness, the awareness itself, which is our consciousness, our awareness, and the observation that comes with it, without judgment and without comparing and projecting and all that. If you're not comparing, not projecting, not creating a distortion, the awareness itself brings insight, and the insight has the impact of insight unconditions the mind.
Yeah, you can say that sort of thing, right? Yeah, as long as that there is an insight, which I call a glimpse of truth, then that glimpse stays for a while, but it then goes away, you know, and then we become a normal person using I as everyday life. So then we forget that. But since the glimpse has the power, it's going to uncondition the mind the way you said it. We can say that way. Unconditions the mind, meaning that conditioning remains, but the identification of that conditioning as me drops away. And
okay, all right. Right. So along those lines, let's take it now further. Same thing, that this type of this awareness, the awareness itself that brings insight, and the insight unconditions the mind. So this occurrence is not an intellectual or analytical process, but an active state of seeing and understanding things as they are.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
I can give us very simple example.
Please, we want to hear
in
from
a
you.
Practical life, right?
Yeah.
See, whenever we are unhappy, right? Whenever we are unhappy, for example, then we keep on trying to get rid of that unhappiness. And we keep asking sometimes, why me? Why me? What did I do? This and that, right? That happens. Now, compare that experience with when you are really happy. Would I say that why am I happy? Or would I say don't want to get happiness? I never say that, right? Why? The second example, when you're happy, there is no I to even ask the question or to try to get rid of something. Because it's our nature. It's our nature. It reveals our nature. We don't realize it. But that happiness has no I. So now when you are unhappy, instead of trying to get rid of this unhappiness with the I, you just want to find out who is this I that is not present when I am happy. Now it is present when I'm unhappy, and ask why me? So that's a very important question that tells us that we take this I as a real, and that's the cause of our unhappiness. Because if we take it as a real, then only we'll try to get rid of it.
Okay, so
and then this yeah.
Okay, I want to go slow. When you say we take it as real, because I've heard you say that many times, right? Let's see if we can just expand, understand that more clearly, what that means. You know, again, I mean, I understand certainly the description is not to describe, language is on the surface. We want to dive deeper.
Yeah.
When Pratap Bhatt says we take the I as the real, so can you explain what exactly that is to the best of your ability? I mean, I have some thoughts about it and some questions about it for you also. But before you answer, I just want to make one comment on that when we are in that awareness is present, that presence of the awareness is an active state of seeing and understanding things as they are, meaning understanding and seeing that I as it is. So, but then when you say we take it as real, I would like for you to really explain that in as much depth as you can. What does that mean actually?
Yeah. See, the way I have understood it is this. In our experience, whenever we experience in the moment particularly, I will tell you why in the moment I'm stressing, because in the moment there are no thoughts available. In now or in the moment, there cannot be thought, because every thought requires a little time, even if it is a millisecond or whatever, but it takes time. So in our experience, we only see something arising in us. Thoughts and all those things arise, right? Now, if the thoughts arise and if I want to communicate with other people, then how would I do that? This very awareness is so intelligent that it says, okay, this body and the mind get aware, identify with the mind, and then derive a sense of you. That what we are doing from the childhood. And this is the anatomy of it. This Pratap is nothing but an identification by awareness with the mind, and a sense arises of Pratap to just speak for the mind. Now, instead of that, we never question this I since growing up from the childhood. And we take this I as a real I who has the mind, who has the body, and all those things. We take this I as a thought, but we take I as a real. You see, thought cannot have this kind of a separate, independent existence. But I take myself as an independent existence. I am just only talking about them, what my mind tells this as an instrument. This is the big thing that I have learned, is that when we talk on behalf of mind, we forget that we are talking behind of mind. So whatever we are going to say as the content of the mind, including the I, they are all one observed only. That's not observer. But that's the reason for this mind to act as if it's a tool. But now, in absence of any inquiry and daily living in the people in the world, we take that as a real. So that is the most important understanding that I think we can have about this I, is that it artificially separates itself from the mind, content of the mind, and that creates the duality between the content, like a desire, anger, all of those, and the one who wants to control. The one who wants to control cannot even exist without identifying with whatever it needs to control. So that is a theme. That's why Krishnamurti is very big on saying the controller is the control. The thinker is the thought.
Yes, and he's the only one who's actually ever said that. Yeah, I mean, although Vedanta does say that, but in maybe different language. That's all.
In different language, they are. But sometimes, when Vedanta may be even saying it, but it doesn't come out what we hear in a traditional way.
Yes, definitely. Okay, all right, very nice. Okay, now let's go carefully here. The notion that we take things as the real, the I we're taking as real. Again, we come back to choiceless awareness. Choiceless awareness is a state of pure observation without any judgment, without any bias, and without any reaction. It is just pure observation, right? This is how choiceless awareness is talked about. So in that observation, what is involved in that is that an individual's being, it involves being fully present in the moment, in the now. There's full presence. And this is what Krishnamurti's, this quote that we were looking at, the very first quotation, or the first entry in his notebook, that in the evening it was there, suddenly it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. Others noticed it, that it is just an occurrence that is there without the factor of time or the ego or any kind of a me that is trying to do something.
Right, yes. It's very right. That's the word I use, is that the I drops away. Or we can say that I gets absorbed in the awareness itself, because awareness itself has identified with the mind with the reason is to speak for the mind, communicate and live with others as a label, so that we can relatively say, I am Pratap only relative to what I am not, like I am not Sachin. That's just the purpose of living with other people, because other people are also mind and body based individuals, and they don't know if they don't inquire. But the one who inquired knows it, right? So
Yeah.
that's the relative thing. It is not my reality. In ignorance, if I take it, it's not my reality. So Pratap is not my reality. So choiceless awareness becomes with this understanding. There is nobody to make it as a choiceless.
Right.
Awareness is in itself, naturally is the choiceless, and it never speaks anything, right? So that's the reason why it has designed the mind, all those things, so that we can live in this world with separate objects, which are apparently not separate, but we can live as if they are separate, so that we know the use of each object, for its use and all the correct use of the objects without getting attached and all that.
Yes. Okay. All right. So choiceless awareness, it involves, or it allows the individual, it's happening inside, it's an occurrence where there is observation of reality, observation of the phenomenal world, the mental world, the external world, the body, is observing all of it. It's observing reality and the reality of the mind itself. So choiceless awareness involves being fully, it involves being fully present, being fully present in the moment, observing reality as it unfolds. So there is an unfolding in the observation without any interpretation or interference.
Right. As soon as this I that is used as the spokesperson is seen, then you don't have to worry about getting rid of interference and become right, because that's the root of all this mischiefs.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, if I don't understand and try to get rid of this interference, this is disturbing. It's the I, same I is doing that.
Right. So the direct path, it's like the one step, the first step is the last step, or like the Advaitic sense is to directly observe the I, and not to play with it and to try to distort it, but to directly see its nature, what it is, and it seems like that I then remains only transactional, vyavharika.
Transactional, very good word. That's even better word, transactional.
But it remains only that, nothing else other than that. So if it's not anything other than transactional, that would mean that that awareness as such, which is choiceless awareness, is free from any direction or motive. It's not going in any direction. I mean, transactional stuff is going in directions. Yeah, but that is not an issue at all. And this is the Krishnamurti stuff between the harmony between the known and the unknown. I mean, that's that harmony between the two.
Yeah, and the first lines that you read, that
yes.
It was there, it is there, it is
Yeah.
there, and it was a sense of beauty and all those things, that he is speaking only. He is not as Krishnamurti.
No.
Because he had the glimpse of truth. So the mind has received this information, and now mind is speaking only.
Yes, exactly. So those words that are spoken by the mind, but those words are not spoken by the me. That's the difference.
Well, even if it's spoken by the me, that the Krishnamurti can always say that as an individual, that this is what it is, but it's describing, not taking it as a real, but only as the tool for this understanding to speak to the people, right? All the Swamis are great realized people, saints are also talking, right?
Yes, of
and
course.
we always say that with the name, that Raman Mercy says this and all that thing. But Raman Maharshi knows that it is he is speaking, but not as an individual that he takes it as a real.
Now, there's another very interesting point in this, that choiceless awareness is free from any direction or motive. I mean, I think that's fairly clear. So choiceless awareness is such that it doesn't choose what to observe. Hence, it is choiceless. It is just observation.
Right. And then
Yeah.
the pure observation.
Pure observation.
What is? That's what he said. What is,
this?
right?
Mhm.
Now, so then it is a moment-to-moment experience, because thoughts remains option at that time. Now, when we want to talk, then thought has to be there when you want to talk.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this thought is the body-mind based individual that describes the experience.
Okay, so along those lines, let's go one step further into this. Krishnamurti believed, as far as what we have been discussing, or Krishnamurti, expressed, that choiceless awareness has the power or the potentiality to bring about a fundamental transformation in the mind. This is what he calls the radical change, radical transformation.
Right, yeah.
The awakening of intelligence. So the mind transforms from inside out in the state of choiceless awareness.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right.
Transforms automatically.
Automatically.
Seeing
Yes.
the truth.
Right. Yes, exactly. So, for example, people who have anger issues, addiction problems, they have conflict, all those things actually vanish in this transformation.
Exactly. Yeah, because see, when we say choiceless awareness, but the experience of awareness, moment to moment, is nothing but the peace, love, joy that doesn't depend on anything, beauty, all those things that he mentioned. It's the nature of that awareness when there is no interference by the I. That I want it. I want to be happy. I want.
Yes. Very exactly. That is what destroys ignorance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
When that is seen, then the next understanding comes when one speaks about these, that this speaking person is not a real person, but it's a tool of this awareness.
Right. Exactly.
I think that is a very important thing to understand. Otherwise, he would not say observer is the observed.
Exactly.
When you observe with anything that arises in the consciousness, awareness, moment to moment, okay, before the thought interferes, moment to moment, there is a jealousy or anything, and the one that observes it is awareness itself, really, but we don't see. So if we separate it out, then we have to say, I am jealous, right?
Yes.
I am jealous, or I am greedy, or I am
Yeah.
this, or I am that, or angry.
Yeah.
So it's only one. I and the jealousy are one. So that's what he says, that there is no separate observer who is jealous. There is jealousy only. And when that understanding comes, then you see that I, that was a jealous person, drops away because of seeing the truth, that there is only jealousy. Then the jealousy has no power again. It drops away then. It also drops away. It was sustained by struggling to fight with it.
That's it. It was sustained by struggling to fight with it. Fantastic. Beautiful, fantastic, beautiful. So along these lines, Krishnamurti's thoughts here, he says that that choiceless awareness is such that it allows us to understand, like really intrinsically see the nature of thoughts and emotions, and see them for what they truly are, which is what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
You see them for what they truly are. What is the relationship? Yeah. The observer, the controller, the controller, and all that thing. The me that is separating it out and then is strengthening itself. But once it stops doing that, it's just It's just recognizing that that jealousy or greed or emotion or thought, whatever thought emotion is there, it's just it's part of the experience of life, and one is no longer struggling with it, so it naturally settles down and reintegrates in a different way. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, or we can say that sometimes in the Shastra we also tells that this ego, this I, merges with the reality, that
Right, exactly.
the awareness.
Yes,
Right? They say
absolutely.
that it merges. So there is only then.
So we could say, because I think Krishnamurti's perspective in many ways is that the ego is, you can see the ego, it's the perception of the ego as a false construct of thought. That it's a constructed phenomena from inside. It doesn't have any actual reality, but so it's a falsely constructed thing, that what you have said, Pratapji, that we're taking that as the real, but it's not real.
Taking as a real, because
but it's not real. Yeah.
False in that sense that it is not any entity or anything like that. It's just a thought for some purpose to speak for the mind in the relative world. And that's why, but it is only, in my understanding, it is the design of this awareness, universal intelligence, which is. So that is a design of it to have this mind name all the objects arbitrarily agreed upon and that deal with them with this understanding that they are not separate from us. Everyone has a reality of this awareness, everyone. And that at the body level, we say even Atman, in our tradition way. And then we say Atman is the Brahman also at the same time. Yeah. So that understanding out of this experience of seeing that how this I comes is only when you identify with the mind. Then only, right? If I say I'm driving the car, I have to say I am mind, knowledge in the mind and the body. I have to identify with that, right? Then only I say I am driving. So I am using this label I for body and the mind when I'm driving or doing something or cooking, anything that I'm doing with the mind and the body. I have to identify in order to say that I am doing it. I cannot keep on saying my mind and my body is doing. Right, even exactly. My mind and my body is not experience. It's a thought.
It's a thought. It's a thought
that expresses some ever-present experience of being aware. By expressing it, it is not an experience, it's the expression of this thing. Very important point is that the seeing takes place without anything, any effort, anything. And that seeing is only at the level of the mind. Whatever you see, you say, I see a tree. So that's the expression of the experience. Definitely. With the help of the mind.
Definitely.
But it's not the experience of the mind.
No. So
mind just speaks.
Yes. Okay. All right. So
very important thing, because we think that the mind is experiencing. Mind is not experiencing. Mind is experienced.
Mind is experienced. Yes.
Yeah. You heard the Tripura Rahasya. The Tripura Rahasya means seeing is only one, ever present, but it adds the other object from whatever it's seen from the mind, and then it takes body-mind based as a subject.
Yes.
That subject you can take only for the vyavhar.
Yes.
Not real, right?
Yes, so exactly.
Creates the tree. And then we describe with the mind, I see a tree, then it becomes threesome, right? And I take myself as a real, and the rest is not me. Forget that the seeing, in this case seeing, but it equally good for this touch and taste and smell and all that. It's important to know that this seeing and hearing and all those things are effortlessly ever present, never absent, cannot be defined any way so that we cannot say it has a border, it has a beginning or end, because they cannot be objectified.
Oh, okay. All right. So when we've considered the ego, as per Krishnamurti's ideas and writings and whatnot, the ego is built from memories, experiences, and conditioned beliefs. 3 points. So we have memories, we have them. We have experiences, we have them. We have conditioned beliefs. Conditioning is there. So it's the sense of the I, the me, the mind that is built through these experiences, memories, beliefs, etc. It is a constructed phenomena. The I is a constructed phenomena. The mind itself is making that thing.
It's a mind-based sense derived from the mind,
Right? Okay. So that ego, its nature is such that it tends to be self-centered. It tends to be divisive, causing conflict, division, and then ultimately suffering. And it is the root of psychological problems, as per Krishnamurti.
And that ego is, when we say ego, I always have a problem a little bit, because this something that its ego is the name Pratap.
Yes, right.
That has to be understood. Otherwise say he should not have ego. Well, if I should not have ego, but then I remains.
Sure.
So that's why ego is this, what we take it as a real, which is usurpation of the reality of awareness, as if I am aware.
Definitely.
I as a Pratap.
Yeah, so what's interesting here is that Krishnamurti stated many times that the ego maintains its existence by seeking continuity. That it wants continuity, which it finds through identification. And now that identification is all different kinds. I mean, there's political identification.
You cannot get rid of the identification.
No, but because it's
But it need not be either.
No, exactly. So let's go into this a little bit further. That the ego maintains its existence.
Right. Continuity. Right.
Right. But and again, we're separating this ego that wants to maintain its existence from the transactional sense of me. I think we would separate that out, because it has to be there. The transactional, functional me has to be there to live in this world and to interact with people and whatnot. But I think once we separate that out very clearly, with the act of higher intelligence, then there's a realization that the ego is maintaining its existence by seeking continuity through identification.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly, that is how the ego seeks continuity.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
now,
because otherwise, how is it going to? It has to have something to identify with.
Right. Now the interesting part here is that if the ego, or when there is awareness of the ego and its activities, so I think there's a very big difference between trying to do something to the ego versus choiceless awareness of the ego. Trying to do something to the ego is like the traditional sadhanas and all that. Apply the mind to God or to this or to that. Whatever that is the ego still present there, trying to get somewhere, trying to do something.
And the reason for this, it doesn't remain choiceless because of this I.
Well, of course.
So when this I is understood only as its real use of this I is understood, then the awareness itself is always a choiceless.
It's always choiceless, definitely.
He's just emphasizing the choicelessness of the awareness. But naturally awareness is always choiceless.
Always. Yes, absolutely. So the awareness is choiceless, and the awareness of the ego and its activities. This is very, very interesting. I mean, this is very interesting in terms of people trying to pray to God, religious sadhanas and all that. There's a me, there can be a me involved in that also.
Yeah.
One of the things that has struck Sachin over the years was that if we are praying to God, can prayer remain naturally without the me that is praying to God?
Yeah, or we understand that you have to surrender to the God, and whatever we are surrendering is this ego.
Exactly.
What
Absolutely.
else is yours that you can surrender other than ego?
Right. So this is very interesting that the awareness of the ego and its activities, the ego's activities, okay, without judgment or desire to change, to do something to that. This is the pathless path idea. We're not doing anything to that. It is the awareness of the ego and its activities without any judgment and without desire to change whatever is going on within that ego, in that ego, can dissolve the ego.
Yeah.
So the dissolution, the dissolving of the ego, that brings us right back to this sentence again. In the evening it was there, suddenly it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. Others noticed it. So the ego and its activities are seen. There's no judgment, there's no desire to change. The ego drops, which is what you were saying. It drops completely.
Exactly. Drop in the sense that it got absorbed now with whatever is being seen.
Yes.
There is, because when you have no this eye, disturbing eye, then awareness is the only reality. And it's by nature, it's a peace, joy, love, and beauty, and universal intelligence.
Definitely. And also the day-to-day living, the hour-to-hour living, from in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, the states of the mind.
Right.
Those things are going to remain, but there is a phenomenal psychological freedom. That book Krishnamurti wrote, The First and the Last Freedom.
Right. Very beautiful.
That's what this is. I mean, there is a tremendous freedom in this.
Yeah, because there is, once the ego is even understood that it comes out only by this identification of awareness itself with the body and the mind, but for the transactional purpose, that understanding out of this experiencing that, when I speak my mind. So that's a proof. Whatever I speak my mind.
Yeah.
That tells me that something that I take my mind as me. So that understanding from this experience, seeing the truth. So seeing the truth sets you free.
Yes.
Okay. Or see the falseness of this I that I was taking as real. The false as the false is the truth itself. And that acts from us.
Right. Okay, so on this point, Krishnamurti's writings are such that choiceless awareness allows for the discovery of truth. So it is that great silence where there is a fresh perspective, fresh vision. It is a discovery of truth. But by observing without choosing, without interpreting, we encounter reality directly.
Yes. Right. Very good. Yes.
Pratap, this is why we have to have only me and you doing this right now. We cannot put anybody else in this thing right now. It's awesome. It's absolutely tremendous.
It's very hard to even understand in the Krishnamurti dialogues also.
Oh yeah, the Krishnamurti
substance that he's talking about.
Exactly. Okay, now here's the next point. In choiceless awareness, this is interesting. This is very interesting. In choiceless awareness, I would say, we could say that one does not suppress or avoid or change anything. Instead, one lets everything that arises, thoughts, emotions, sensations, memories, whatever arises, to be there as it is.
Or in the transactional purpose, some actions are needed.
Yes, of course.
The right actions will be guided by this understanding.
Yes.
Only. Yeah.
Only, yes. That's the harmony between the unknown and the known.
You don't become stone, in other words,
No,
Yeah.
no, exactly not.
Like,
So,
yeah. When you identify yourself as an awareness itself, the truth, the reality, then
right.
the use of that is to be able to deal with other people also.
Naturally, in fact, there is a frictionless interaction
Beautiful.
with all.
Yeah. And knowing full well that the action comes from this intelligence,
Yes.
and this mind body Pratap, I am only acting
Yes.
for their direction.
So okay, so this state of awareness or awareness itself allows for deep understanding and insight to arise naturally. This is an interesting point, that the insight arises naturally, that the awakening of the intelligence occurs naturally. It doesn't occur based on old patterns, fixed patterns, or by some roadmap shown by somebody else.
Yeah.
This is
when Krishnamurti, he doesn't even mention this separate I and all those things, but very clearly that's what he means, that the mind is full of this and that and all those things. Mind can be totally conditioned, and that it still you can find your freedom, provided you find your freedom from this I.
okay. So right, that's it. So the state of awareness, which is a freedom from this I, it leads to the dissolving of old patterns of behavior. The things that don't serve us, they are just obliterated. In the present, they are obliterated.
Particularly the psychological ones.
Yeah. That's the one, right? Exactly. It leads to the dissolving of the old patterns of behavior, thoughts, and feelings. So patterns of behavior, patterns of thought, patterns of feeling that are old, conditioned, and conflicted, and all that mess, it literally shatters.
Yeah, but the conditioning, if I may add, the conditioning in itself has no power until this I gives the power to the conditioning by identifying with it. So when understood clearly, the I is used, then the conditioning is kind of a neutralizes.
Yes. Okay. So
even if it is there in the mind as memory, it's not going to act.
Yes, exactly.
In other words, we found our freedom in spite of everything, condition and all that. That's the beauty about this freedom that he's talking about. Is not freedom from something.
No.
Because if it is from something, then there may be other things also that you are not free.
Exactly.
So this one freedom from this I, that is not the reality of ourselves, is the total freedom. It gives you all freedom, because everything that it was using was the mind only. So now no use. Yeah.
So it is the enabling of unconditioned perception.
Right.
The enabling of unconditioned perception. So interestingly, that this is a natural state where the mind is not caught up in thoughts, desires, fears. It's not caught anywhere in this.
Yeah, you can say that way. Yeah,
we could say that. Now we could also say,
because the manipulator of the mind is no more there taken as a real.
Right. So the ego is such that that most of our suffering arises from the ego's attempts to secure and protect itself.
Right, exactly. Protect itself. Now, why would it protect itself? Because it takes itself as a real.
That's why.
When struggle comes, then it takes itself as a real. It doesn't understand that I only is a tool. I and the other person are not really separate. So now, as a separate thing, how should I behave? That comes because this ego is understood now.
Yes. So Krishnamurti noted, excuse me, in his writings, that the ego is always in conflict with itself. and the world around it. So the ego is generating conflicts with itself and the world around it. And now there's thousands of examples of them.
You know why it is? I know, I can tell you why it is conflict with itself. Because our mind contains the image of me around with the image of everything that I know, people, you know, based on the relationship. I also have their images. I have the knowledge also in their mind, but the central image is myself, and it is all other people around me. So the mind is very fragmented. So the real conflict I have is within the mind versus my image versus other person's image that I take real also. So that's the reason why he's saying that ego is in the conflict.
Yeah, so ego is always in conflict with itself and the world around it.
World, yeah, but the world that it knows, it just uses whatever is in mind is the word. It says carve out. I say carve out, you know, like artists do all the carving.
Yes.
Carve out from God's word into your word based on what you have been conditioned to like and dislike and all those things, and then assume you are the separate from the other people and you are the most important person, your image, in other words. So that makes you defensive all your life.
Yes, absolutely. And this is what's interesting, that the ego is constantly seeking security, but its very nature creates insecurity. You see, I'll say that again, that the ego is constantly seeking security.
Yeah.
But its very nature, the nature of the ego is such that it creates insecurity.
Yeah. By trying to be secure, it doesn't realize that it is creating insecurity.
Okay, so now this is interesting. So for Krishnamurti,
now, because when you create yourself as a separate from the other person, then only there is a possibility of being insecure by the other person.
Yes.
Better than you, this or that, right?
Exactly.
And you try to secure your ego with the acquisitions of all the material things and power and money and all those things, external things that you, in the name of being secured, you are securing, but very things that you are securing are changing, flipping, all those things. So are you securing or are you making it unsecure yourself?
So for J. Krishnamurti and his writings, the end of the ego doesn't mean the end of individuality. It doesn't mean the end of individuality. Rather, it means the cessation of self-centered activity, freeing the mind from its own limitations and conflicts.
Yes, exactly. That's the reason why he says that you are the world.
You are the world, exactly. So the understanding and dissolution, the dissolving of the ego, as per Krishnamurti, is not an achievement or an attainment.
Yeah.
It's a natural result of self-awareness and awakened understanding.
Yes. Awakening understanding from experientially seeing it, realizing it.
Yes.
All the experience that we can see creates the understanding. And that understanding speaks through the mind, and that has the effect, very potent effect on the peace and happiness and all that. So
yes,
understanding is all right, but there are understanding of two kinds. There is a mind-based understanding only, where you don't even have to worry about it. You learn history, you learn science and all those things. And anything in the scientific field will never change. So you can store it, and whatever you have, that you can share it, or you can use other minds and all those things. So that part is not a problematic.
Right, exactly.
So, but the other part, the psychological part, that my country, my nation, my caste, all those things are the problematic. And then when we identify with them, we become insecure.
Yes, yes. Now let's go back to Krishnamurti's notebook just for a moment. When Krishnamurti said,
Okay.
when he says that in the evening it was there, the it here it likely refers to profound awakened consciousness or spiritual presence. So when one goes through all this, the ego and all these things are not present anymore, awareness is there. Now what happens in this is where this notebook actually begins.
Yeah.
So it begins at the very end point of this entire journey of where the awareness is fully just present, and just the transactional me is present, but other than that, there's no ego, none of those things are
exactly.
So
exactly right.
So the notebook begins at that point.
Notebook begins at that. Very good. Yeah, that's a good observation. Right.
Right.
Yeah, it assumes all those things that we talked about now.
Yeah, it assumes all that you've gone through all.
And notebooks begins, right? Yeah.
That's where so when Krishnamurti says in the evening it was there, it could likely refer to this profound awakened consciousness, spiritual essence, spiritual presence. Again, indescribable. He says suddenly it was there, filling the room, a great sense of beauty, power, and gentleness. The words beauty, power, and gentleness are Krishnamurti's attempt to describe the indescribable. It cannot be described, first of all, but he's using that language to give some indication about what it is.
Yeah, to speak to the other people, yeah.
To speak to the other people. So it is actually that consciousness that is speaking to the other people.
Ah, very, very nice. It is exactly correct. It's the truth that speaks.
It's the truth
that is the consciousness, obviously.
It is the beauty that is speaking. It is the truth that is speaking. It is not Krishnamurti that is speaking.
Right.
So
using the body mind of Krishnamurti.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, and actually he's saying that it was present. He's not saying I am present or I'm thinking of it is automatically present there. It is just there. It was filling the room. It's amazing actually just what is involved in that.
Beautiful, yeah.
So then if you go further in this, we could say that the words beauty, power, and gentleness are Krishnamurti's attempt to describe the indescribable. Okay, that's fine. So this awakened consciousness is perceived as beautiful due to its inherent harmony with all existence.
Yep.
That the consciousness awareness is in harmony with all existence, and that is why the words beauty and are used. That the word beauty is used because of that consciousness as inherently harmonious with all of the diversity.
Right. Because
or as the diversity, or even as the diversity.
No chance of conflict anyway.
Not at all. So it's
everything that it looks at is itself.
Okay, now this is interesting. So when Krishnamurti uses the word power, meaning that it's powerful in the sense of its profound transformative potential. You see, so the energy that is present in that energy renews the mind, transforms the mind. It radically transforms from inside. It is acting upon the mind. It descends upon the mind.
Descends upon the mind. Very true.
Right. So that is it's. So when Krishnamurti is using the word power, he's using three words: beauty, power, and gentleness. So he's using the word beauty because of its inherent harmony with all existence. That's okay. So then he's using the word power in the sense that of the potentiality, because of that intense energy, which is the higher energy, to be transformative. It's transformative potential. The word power is used. And the third word that is used is gentleness. That is gentleness
at the same time. Yeah.
Is in its peaceful and non-aggressive quality.
Yes. And I if I may add, then I can say this now is beyond the mind.
Completely.
Beyond the mind will never have any opposites. Only mind is opposite. And that also projected opposite.
Of course.
That which is love is not opposite to the hatred.
Exactly.
So it cannot become conditional love.
No, because the notebook begins begins at this point where you've gone beyond the pairs of opposites, and you basically the Bhagavad Gita and all the Shastras and Vedanta are like bursting open. Basically, it's like they're opening. That's what this is. That's what this is. Now this is interesting. That he also says others noticed it. That's the last part of that sentence.
So, because we are 8:35 now. So
so just last point, and then we can stop. Others noticed it. This sentence confirms the universal or shared aspect of the experience. Krishnamurti suggests that this state of consciousness isn't purely subjective or private, but can be sensed or somehow noticed by others.
It's right, absolutely right. Yes,
right. So
noticed
by others. So it speaks to a spiritual truth that, according to Krishnamurti, is not limited to the individual mind, but is instead a universal phenomena or universal phenomena that transcends personal boundaries.
Right, that transcends the personal boundary.
Okay.
And yet the person is useful for so many other transactional ways. But otherwise, you are not a person. You're not an individual. He tells a lot of time that individual means non-divisible, undivisible.
Yeah, yes.
But we don't. So that's a very powerful, that notebook tells one.
Tremendous. Yeah, but the notebook is mind-blowing. There's
mind-blowing.
It is absolutely tremendous. We just looked at one line today. Thank you so much. It is such a fantastic conversation. There was no way to have. I mean, you bring in people who are not ready for this thing, and it's not possible to talk in this way. But that is our prayer to God or consciousness that the whole.
Yeah. No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
That more, the platform that we used to have on Sunday. Was more of a counseling kind of thing.
Yeah. This is too advanced. It's too far advanced, So, I mean, it's not about ego or anything, but in this way, it requires quite a bit of really resonance with these ideas over time. But
very good. I'm equally thankful to you.
अरे आपका आशीर्वाद है, आपकी कृपा है. It's really amazing. I remember the first time we met at that Baltimore retreat.
Right. Today, actually, this was the weekend.
Today was the weekend. I was remembering that today was the Memorial Day weekend. So it's good as a way of continuing those dialogues. We had this dialogue today. So
and something unusual, that a person that was attending that meeting, you may know it was name was Johan Levera. Because Richard Sohn and all those other people that came with their girlfriends and all that.
Yeah.
He's visiting Rochester, and we are meeting tomorrow.
Oh, wonderful.
We become very close friend. And he also said, oh yeah, we used to meet this very day we were returning from there.
Exactly.
So,
fantastic. Amazing. But what a conversation. Amazing conversation. That's, and it's just unparalleled. I mean, the notebook is unparalleled. Nobody can touch.
No. Yes, you are right.
Okay, thank you so very much. So is this a good time to meet, like on a weekly basis? Can we meet at this time, like at 7:30?
Yeah, Monday.
Is okay. Good. Let's just set that as a time for you and I to go through the notebook. Then we'll go to paragraph number 2 next week, Monday. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Fantastic. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.